Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to the first episode of Did You Know for Apex Legends. I have quickly fallen in love with this game, and during my time, I've stumbled across some tips and hopefully some advanced ones that might help you out when you're playing the game. And so first and foremost, did you know that you can boost glide around the map? Now I'm sure you guys are all very aware of the balloons that are scattered around all over the place, where if you rappel up to the very top, it will allow you to fly for a short period of time. The thing about it though, is that those balloons don't usually allow you to fly very far, not as far as you would like to, especially if you're trying to run away from the ring and not take any damage. And so if you want to go farther, you can use a tactic that I like to call boost gliding. The way that it works is that as soon as you reach the top, hold down as soon as you start to fly the free look button. For some reason, now as soon as you hold it down and you make your way to any sort of object or elevation, when your character nears that object, like a hill for example, they'll start to boost up and then glide around for a little bit. You can then strafe to the left and the right away from that object, and then you'll start to glide again. Any other object that gets near, you'll boost back up and start to glide. This gives you a lot more control of where you're trying to go, not only just to be able to scout the area and figure if anyone is nearby, but also just to get to where you want to go quicker. Speaking of scouting, one of my favorite ways to try to figure out where the action is or where players are moving to is to once again use that balloon rope. Make your way on up to the very top, but right before you're about to fly, simply just jump off of the rope. Hold down on your back key, so you're gonna move backwards a little bit, and then scout around. As soon as you're about halfway, do a 180, grab the rope, and then you'll proceed to zip line back on up. You can constantly just do this over and over and over again and survey the area. Now, of course, this does leave you exposed yourself. People might notice you jumping up and down, but it's a great way to figure out where you need to go and kind of get a good lay of the land so that you can hopefully proceed and take advantage of that information. Now, one aspect about Apex Legends that I have fallen in love with is the movement system. Being able to slide down a hill or scamper up the side of a building to flank the enemy is incredibly satisfying. But did you know that you can actually slide down a hill backwards and also use your weapon? Now, I don't know why I didn't assume that this was possible. It only makes sense. The developers have done such a good job just thinking of every aspect, and all of it kind of just fits into place. And so if you're in a situation where you are on a hill, you're on the back foot because you've taken some damage, you need to retreat either to heal up or just kind of get into a better position, instead of just simply running down the hill as fast as you can or sliding down it, we'll just turn around while sliding and then retaliate. Hopefully you can do some damage yourself, maybe put them on the back foot, but at the same time, you're able to maintain that speed, which you wouldn't be able to do if you were just slowly walking backwards like everyone else. And while this might be a bit more situational because you're not going to be next to a hill every single time, there are a lot of them, but sometimes you are going to be on flat ground. If you are in one of those situations, I highly recommend that you try it out. Now, probably one of the best features in Apex Legends is their ping system. Being able to ping where players are, where you want to go, or just simply an item on the ground is incredibly helpful. But did you know that you can actually make those pings last longer? I'm sure you guys have been in this situation a lot because it's happened to me. Your teammate pings, let's say, a weapon attachment that you really want, you're busy looting, or let's say action happens around, you get distracted because you're on the other side of this little area, and then as soon as you make your way on over to that item, the ping disappears. You then need to make the awkward call out like, hey, do you remember where that one specific item was that you're no longer near anymore? He's like, no, I don't. Sorry, you're going to have to look yourself. And so the workaround to this, if you want that notification to last longer, is that as soon as you see it pop on up, is to then ping it yourself. Your character will make a call out like, hey, that's mine, dibs or whatever, and then the notification will last significantly longer, giving you the time to loot where you are, and then you can make your way on over. It makes life a lot easier in those situations. Now, probably one of the most important aspects about Battle Royale games is the initial drop. Being able to get to where you want to go as fast as you can so that you can get the loot, get the advantage against the other players that also dropped in that area is incredibly important. One mistake I see a lot of newer players make is that they'll straight beeline to exactly where they want to go as soon as they jump out of the jump ship. Now, the problem with this is that you don't get there as quickly as what we're about to get to, and also you're not able to get as far. And so the tactic that I would recommend is to kind of do a dolphin maneuver. You start off when you jump out of the jump ship is to aim straight down, reach about 145 speed, I'm not actually sure what the metric is there, and then level out and glide. As soon as your party reaches about 130, 135 speed, then you're going to want to dip back down. You kind of keep doing this continuously to where you need to go. Not only is this going to get you there faster because you're able to maintain a higher speed, but you can also extend to further reaches onto the map. And while it will take some time and some practice to get used to this, it is going to depend on where your party wants to go. If it's closer, you're going to want to dive down for longer. If it's further away, then those glides need to happen more frequently. And so use this as a guideline, but I highly recommend you use this over just simply making a beeline to exactly where you need to go. Now, as for some of the legends, Caustic is probably one of my least favorites, but one tactic that is very useful for him is that his special ability, his little mines that he can place around everywhere, can actually block access to doorways. If you place this literally in a doorway, if a player is trying to get in or out, they're gonna have to actually break down said doorway. If you're not aware, you can actually melee a door 2 times and it will break it. Now, this doesn't remove his actual gadget. They're still not able to get through it because the gadget is in the way and it will activate. But if you're trying to lock people inside of a building, let's say like before, you know a bunch of people are in a building and you don't want them to get out, well, just place a bunch of his gadgets on the outside of the door frames and they're gonna be locked in. They're gonna have a hard time getting out, which will hopefully allow you to be able to take advantage of the situation. I've seen some Caustics pull off some ridiculous plays where they lock people in and then he throws his gas canister inside and they have no way of getting out. It's really effective. But on top of that, if you just simply want to keep people from getting inside, this is a great way of going about it as well. Another legend that can be a lot of fun to use is Mirage. His special ability allows him to make a clone of himself for a short period of time. Now, most people, what they do is that they'll just send their clone in a straight line in front of them to hopefully fool the enemy, and that's a great tactic. But did you know that his decoy will actually mirror what he is doing? So instead of just flinging it forward, crouch down on the ground, then use your ability, and your decoy will also be crouching down and just standing still. And so in those situations where you know a lot of people are nearby, if you know that someone's about to try to round the corner on you, you can crouch down or just simply stand up, then use your ability, and then try to engage the enemy. So they're gonna come across the corner, see 2 people instead of just 1. It's gonna look a lot more live-like than just a normal Mirage, which people are kind of getting accustomed to, and then hopefully that will give you that slight advantage in those situations. It's still, of course, not going to replace a teammate, but it might give you that edge that you need. Another tactic that I've been having a lot of fun with lately is using doors to get on top of rooftops. There are some roofs that can be quite difficult to get up to. There's only maybe one path or one staircase to really get up there viably, and if someone is hunkered down up there, to go up that staircase could be quite challenging because, of course, they're going to be watching said staircase. But if you know that there are a couple of doorways nearby, you can actually use those to your advantage to get the flank off. So the big doors that you guys are seeing right now, normally if you try to run up the side of the building, you're gonna get nowhere near the top. But if you close this giant door, you'll notice that there is a ledge at the top of it. Scamper on up, use that ledge to then jump up to the top of the building, and then you're good to go. Now, one aspect about the game that has been really helpful is that if you're using one of the scopes that has a rangefinder, take advantage of it. You'll notice that as soon as you look at something out in the distance, that the range will move up and down depending on how far away it is. You'll also notice that there are little ticks on the scope itself called 2, 3, 4 all the way down. Now, this is essentially where you want to aim depending on how far away the enemy is, and it also updates automatically no matter what weapon, no matter what scope you are actually using. And so if you notice that an enemy is 200 meters away, instead of trying to line it up with the normal sight, the normal one right in the middle, raising it up to that 2 mark, and that will guarantee that headshot at 200 meters. There is a fair amount of drop in this game, and I was finding it very difficult to get shots off reliably at those extreme distances, but as soon as I discovered this trick, it becomes a lot more reliable. Yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Did You Know? I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you guys have found any helpful tips that I haven't discussed in today's video. I am constantly learning new things about this game every single day. And so if there's anything that you think a lot of people would find useful, let everyone know down below in the comments. Yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.